Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Today we've got some fantastic news to share with you. In fact, we've got a lot of fantastic news to share with you, including DTCC listing those ETFs that are waiting for approval. Now, this is a big step. This is what we saw with Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs pre the approval and launch. I think we are looking at that now. We're very much on the run up to it. We will be starting the video off there. And then we are going to talk about some more extremely interesting news, and that is that BlackRock is exploring ways to tokenize ETFs, and they'll likely do that via DTCC that are already working on tokenizing securities. We've actually looked at the links to Stellar in all of this. We're one of the few people, or one of the only people, way back in 2023 that actually spotted the fact that DTCC had bought Securrency, which were actively working with certain cryptocurrency projects like Stellar. And Securrency essentially is DTCC's digital arm that is going to look to enable the tokenization of the $100 trillion of assets under management that they have. So we will be exploring that. And then we're going to look at what Paul Grewal, who's the chief legal officer at Coinbase, has to say in regards to the missing documents that were destroyed by Gensler. We looked at the text messages. Now there's documents that apparently are missing. What a surprise. It's almost like Gensler was an agent of some individuals who essentially had a job to do that was essentially to perhaps stall this industry so that they could sort of allow their own individuals to perhaps capitalize on it. I think if you look at Luna, if you look at what Luna was doing, we could do a whole video on this, and perhaps we should. They were trying to enable a stable coin that wasn't backed by treasuries, effectively. No. You can't create your own money and your own synthetic dollars. You have to do that with swallowing a debt pill. That's for another video. That's an interesting topic. But let's get into the sensational news, the fantastic news on this fantastic Friday that I'm really happy to be here with each and every one of you for. We know there's 90-something ETFs, over 90-something ETFs as it relates to crypto waiting for approval. About a quarter of them have XRP, and it's one of the real favorites. It only makes sense, right? Second largest cryptocurrency. And we're waiting for this, and we continue to get delay after delay after delay. However, there is progress. This is from Nate Garcia, a guy to follow in my opinion. PSA. DTCC listing Fidelity Sol ETFs and Canary XRP and Hbar ETFs doesn't mean anything from a regulatory standpoint. It's all on the SEC. It is standard practice for DTCC to add securities to the NSCC securities eligibility file in preparation for the launch of a new ETF to the market, said the spokesperson. Appearing on the list is not indicative of an outcome for any outstanding regulatory or other approval process. Okay, we know that, but why are they doing it now? And why did they do it just before the ETFs went live and were approved, and also the Bitcoin ones? They're doing the same thing again. We're spotting that same pattern. You can see we, of course, reported on this. The DTCC has listed multiple new ETFs on their website that are active and pre-launch, including Canary's Hbar ETF and Canary's XRP ETF. And you can see here we have a number of, or certainly a Canary Hbar ETF. And actually, if we go over here, we can see we also have Fidelity Sol ETF, Canary's XRP ETF, and Canary's Hbar ETF. These are imminent, ladies and gentlemen. And the timing of these in regards to where we are in regards to this bull cycle, certainly the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, couldn't be more perfect. We are heading into the most sensational time of the year as far as markets are concerned, at the kind of explosive time for the 4-year cycle, at a time where they're lowering rates, at a time when they're about to enable this industry with regulations through the likes of the Clarity Act, at a time where they're about to launch ETFs, which is going to open these cryptos up to a traditional asset investment vehicle that has the largest pool of liquidity behind it. The stage is set. You've just got to ride through it. And technically also we get a lot of merit in regards to what's happening. Certainly you know the score for Bitcoin, but you're looking at the total cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin. So the total 2 is literally about to break into all-time highs and go into price discovery. We've done a course on cup and handle patterns. It's well worth doing. It'll give you the confidence in regards to this getting to $6.3 trillion from 1.6. The stage is set, guys. My goals and ambitions with this channel, it's not about really self-enrichment. And we all pursue our own endeavors. It's about your enrichment. We don't give financial advice. We're not telling anybody to buy or to not buy. It doesn't affect me whether people buy or they don't. But I do believe there's a great opportunity with the cryptocurrency space, and that people can, like I have, change their lives on the back end of recognizing this technology, recognizing its sort of transformative nature in regards to what it's going to do to the world, and kind of benefiting from the global wealth shift that technologies induce. I always mention this, if you look at pre-internet, the largest stocks, a lot of them were Japanese banks and IBM and things like this. You're talking pre-80s. Now it's all internet stocks. Tomorrow it'll probably be crypto companies, and we own a few of them. So interesting news. I think this is the kind of precursor. It's a positive sign in regards to the ETFs. Let's talk about some other interesting stuff. BlackRock is exploring ways to tokenize ETFs. World's largest ETF issuer, and this is via an individual. The world's largest asset manager is weighing ways to make exchange-traded funds available as tokens on the blockchain, according to people familiar with the matter, who declined to be identified, citing confidential information. The New York-based firm is working on tokenizing funds tied to real-world assets, such as stocks, subject to regulatory considerations, the people said. I think, my opinion is, and nobody thinks this at the moment, that Stellar Lumens is the obvious play in regards to tokenized US securities. Some people may not get that. I think it will become obvious. Eric Balanchunas, who's really the guy to follow on ETFs, reacted to this. Eric, why do we need tokenization when we have ETFs? BlackRock, okay, we are tokenizing ETFs. Take the L. So this guy's actually sort of calling them out. I wonder which blockchains are going to be tokenized on. BlackRock has an ETH ETF with $10 billion in management. 90% of BlackRock's money market build fund is on Ethereum. So ETH is one. DTCC are very much working with ETH and Stellar. But I think Stellar's a dark horse here. Eric replies saying, we need to define the trend better. If by tokenization you mean the back office plumbing of TradFi will be slightly more efficient by utilizing blockchain technology, then sure. I think slightly is an understatement, by the way. Fine, probably with but ZZZs. What is implied into by the hype is getting actual investors to sell VO, ET, AL, and buy tokens, AL, the way ETFs stole from MFs. So market funds. I don't see it. I don't see the value add for the consumer to get them to switch, just as I didn't with DI, and I was totally right about that. The same TradFi people talking up tokens are the same ones who talked up DI. ETFs are always underestimated. I've witnessed this for 20 years now. So a contrary take to tokenization, one we wanted to share, but I personally think there's a major unlock with tokenization. In many ways, it's for their benefit, perhaps more so than yours. But BlackRock are actively exploring tokenization. DTCC listing all these ETFs. It's a great sign. Again, guys, you've got this explosive time of the year ahead of you. Certainly my favorite chart to represent that is the total 2, everything excluding Bitcoin. This is ready to pop, ready to rock and roll. You're ready to embark on a price discovery journey, and I think that throws out the 4-year cycle. That's my opinion based on not just that, but a number of other technical charts that we're looking at. Let's talk about some other really interesting news. This is from Paul Grewal, who's the Chief Legal Officer over at Coinbase. He says, the Gensler SEC destroyed documents they were required to preserve and produce. We now have proof from the SEC's own Inspector General. Today, we asked the federal court to add this gross violation of public trust to ensure that it never happens again. The SEC OIG report last week revealed texts from October 2022 to September 2023 were destroyed. The Gensler SEC did this even though we were asked for information about all communications with the SEC related to crypto regulations and enforcement decisions making years ago. We want expedited discovery, sanctions, and immediate production of all responsive texts. Considering the double standards of the previous chair, it's not surprising that the same agency that fined firms billions for record keeping failure committed the exact same violation. So not just texts, other documents. I honestly believe at this point that Gensler was literally enabled to allow for things to go wrong, and then for them to essentially come in and say, okay, well, we must allow the institutions to do this, not sort of private individuals, institutions that we've established and enabled. And the irony of the SEC, the irony of all these agencies, these government state agencies, yeah, I don't need to tell you guys that the world is corrupt, but it is. And then to sort of finish things off, guys, technically the stage is set. You are just waiting on that next leg for the market as a whole. This is the best chart that there is when it comes to crypto, and that's the total market cap excluding Bitcoin. This is everything in the crypto space. This is a cup and handle pattern if ever I've seen one. We've got also other technical patterns within this that give us confidence that it's going to that sort of $6.3 trillion mark. You're looking at overall cryptocurrency market cap, I think in the sort of $11, $12 trillion in the not too distant future. And that's the ride I want everybody on if they choose to be on it. And I think more broadly than that, the stage is set, guys. I mean, it really is. You will get those ETFs through. I think DTCC doing what they're doing is a very positive sign. I think people are downplaying it. BlackRock looking to tokenize. We knew this from when Larry Fink said it a few years ago now. The stage is set. You've just got to be positioned to benefit from it. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Daily Market Update.